Welcome, focused learners, to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this, because today we're unpacking a massive paradigm shift in real estate, drawn directly from our source material on the lender-led revolution. If you've ever felt the sting of losing out on your dream home, you are absolutely not alone. The whole landscape of buying a home has fundamentally changed, and relying on the old rules is exactly what's keeping buyers from crossing the finish line. Today, we're breaking down exactly why that is, and more importantly, how a complete shift in strategy stops buyers from losing out. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. Death of Show First, the absolute end of traditional house hunting.
We really have to acknowledge something right out of the gate here. Real estate isn't just about bricks and mortar, right? It's deeply, deeply emotional. There is a very real, very heavy heartbreak that happens when you find that absolutely perfect house. You picture your whole life there, and then, boom, it's just gone. So why do you keep losing? Seriously, let that sink in for a second. The emotional weight of losing a home to someone else is heavy. But if you keep losing a home to what you're told is a stronger offer, I want you to ask yourself, is it really just bad luck? Or is your entire foundational strategy the actual problem? As the source material reveals, those losses aren't random at all. They're the direct result of a flawed approach. The people who are winning out there aren't necessarily luckier. They are playing a completely different game with a totally different set of rules. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how it clearly defines what we call the show-first mentality. It's that incredibly common traditional approach of viewing homes, going to open houses, touring properties, before completely solidifying your financial and lender strategy. And hey, it feels completely natural to want to see the product before you figure out the financing. But as our text points out, this mentality is dead. It exposes exactly why excited buyers are set up for failure from the jump. By the time you find the house you love through a show-first approach, you're already 10 steps behind the competition who prioritize their strategy over their touring schedule. Which brings us to Section 2, the agent-led model fails, and exactly why the old way is obsolete. We really need to shift our focus to the systemic issue at play here. That constant, exhausting cycle of hope and disappointment, it's not just a symptom of a tough market or bad timing. Our source frames this traditional model as the very root cause of the problem. For decades, the entire process has been led by the real estate agent. You call an agent, they show you a house, and then you figure out the money. But let's be crystal clear, because the source text is unapologetically clear on this exact point. The traditional agent-led model is failing, period. It's a punchy, declarative reality. The old way of relying entirely on an agent to lead you by the hand through the show-first process is officially dead. If your first step in buying a house is looking at a house with an agent, you're utilizing a failing model. The source material doesn't say this model is struggling or facing challenges. It says it is failing. Recognizing this is absolutely crucial to changing your fortunes as a buyer. And this brilliantly illustrates the clear divide. On one hand, you have the frustrating myth of the agent-led show-first model, a system we just established is failing. It's this wild myth that looking at houses first gets you closer to actually buying one. Contrast that directly against the lender-led strategy. This is the winning side of the board. You've got a stark binary choice between a model that guarantees frustration and a strategy engineered from the ground up to actually win the home. The tactical certainty of the lender-led model completely overpowers the chaotic guesswork of the old way. Which leads us directly to Section 3, the lender-led revolution, flipping the script. We've diagnosed the pain and we've diagnosed the systemic failure, so now we get to introduce the ultimate solution, the lender-led revolution. I really want to pause on this exact quote from the text because it absolutely deserves the spotlight. Calling it a revolution stylizes this concept as a definitive movement. We aren't just talking about a minor tweak to your weekend open house schedule. No way. This is a mandatory evolution for serious buyers. If you are serious about purchasing property, you have to completely flip the script on how you initiate the process. You have to let the financing, the lender, and your robust financial strategy take the steering wheel long before an agent unlocks a single front door. It's a total paradigm shift. It takes the power away from an outdated, failing system and puts it right back into your hands. This is about empowering you with a new way forward. It's high energy, it's disruptive, and it's exactly what's required to cut through the noise of today's market. By joining this revolution, you're stepping into the arena armed and completely ready. Let's see how this builds into actionable, sequential logic. This is how the revolution practically works on the ground to beat the competition. Step 1. Secure your lender's strategy. We're not just talking about a basic pre-approval here, we mean establishing a rock-solid, fully fleshed-out financial game plan. That absolutely must happen first. Then, and only then, do we move to step 2, beat stronger offers.
Because you secured that strategy up front, you aren't scrambling at the 11th hour. You present an offer that is completely insulated by absolute financial certainty. This sequence is exactly how the lender-led strategy works to systematically dismantle the competition, even if their offer initially looks stronger on paper.
Moving into Section 4, never lose a home, cementing the core promise. So the crucial point here is that by embracing this shift, you overcome that failing agent-led model that's holding everyone else back. The text makes a massive promise. Adopting a lender-led strategy ensures you never lose to a supposedly stronger offer ever again. I mean, that is a huge statement to make. It literally becomes your new secret weapon. When you flip the script, you completely eliminate the failures and the inherent heartbreak of that show-first mentality. You aren't just trying to compete anymore, you're actively removing the exact vulnerabilities that cause traditional buyers to lose. You are walking into every single negotiation with a structural advantage that an agent-led buyer simply does not possess. The source material draws a very bright, straight line between the way you prepare financially and your ultimate success at the closing table.
Which leaves us with one final provocative thought. Are you ready to stop looking at houses and start actually buying them? It is time to entirely rethink your approach. Ditch that failing agent-led model, leave the show-first heartbreak in the rearview mirror, and confidently lead with your lender strategy. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, Focus Learners. Take this knowledge, flip the script, and go get that dream home.